And welcome to the No Name Yet podcast. That is the podcast with no name. And this is the first episode of the second season of the No Name Yet podcast. And on the show tonight, we have the man who drinks Seagram's wine coolers. He orders off of eBay, and the other man on the show, Mo.
I don't even know what those are, what you just said.
I don't know what that is either.
I feel like you aged
No clue
me.
what that was.
I was like, whoa. eBay? Don't even know how to use eBay, to be honest with all of you. Like, never used it. So it's interesting.
Wow.
I thought you was talking about
What an
something.
intro. What an intro for you. So
But
many
imagine
things. So
that
many
day.
things he could have said, and he said that.
No, I said that. And
Oh,
No.
the other guest on the show is the podcaster of all podcasters, the man who would swap Mo for a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese, Gritty.
Not a box, maybe a case. Not
Yeah,
one
right.
box. He's worth more than one box.
damn.
That's it. We
I was
back.
I was gonna go with a case.
Gotta
but
bleep that out.
I know I gotta bleep it out. Thanks for
Welcome.
starting
We back.
off the second season with
We
that.
Actually feel. Welcome back. What happens when you start me
Welcome
off
back.
like you disrespected my opening? Listen, yeah.
Are we done?
Done.
All right, that's going to be a lot of work.
Oh, 6 bleeps. Wow. After he took a 6-month break, he can't
I
edit
didn't take a
bleeps.
6-month break. I took a month and a half break.
That's basically 6 months on the internet.
Not serious.
I guess it is.
On the internet, 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to be back. I'm not gonna curse when I say this. Happy to be back. Welcome back.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad that you're back. How about you, Mo? Are you glad to be back?
I'm glad. I'm happy that schedules are different now. So I'm great.
All right. So Mo's got the old headphones on.
I do
Love it. Love it. Old
One
school.
piece is missing just to make everything else to go back to the way I like it.
And I really sympathize with you, Mo, because last night when I was setting all this up, I was missing one piece. And I'm like, where is that piece? And I had to look high and I had to look low. And luckily I was on time for my class I had to take last night.
Oh, so you found it?
I did find it. Yep.
There we go. Very
I
good.
Look high and far.
I had brought it upstairs because I had done the tech for the watch night service.
Yeah.
And
Wonderful.
I did not remember bringing that upstairs.
You have a new mic.
I have a new mic.
New show, new season, new mic.
New season,
This
new
is
mic.
about the 17th mic that you have in the museum.
Yeah,
Will
it
this
is.
be the mic to end all mics? Is this the one? Can we finally
No,
can you
don't
finally
touch
settle
it.
down with a mic?
He's not
It depends
settling.
if I like the quality of it.
Oh boy.
But it is a nice looking mic. It's a Blue Yeti X. And
See it?
Fancy.
I know it doesn't show. That was the only thing I was disappointed with. There it is right there.
Oh yeah, nice.
No.
Doesn't show on the show. Doesn't show
I like
up.
it.
I'm not even gonna say what I think right now. I'm gonna keep my thoughts to myself.
Yeah, keep your thoughts to yourself. I figured you would have gotten. You already got all your thoughts out on the intro.
I got a lot more thoughts than that. What do you think?
There was compulsion. That wasn't thoughts.
That was excitement. That was happiness.
Yeah, here's the old mic, right over here.
And you have about
Wow.
12 more. It's gonna get the old radio one that comes from the ceiling,
Mm-hmm.
silver one.
Well, that'd be nice.
And
I'm gonna
the
bring this. I'm gonna
EPs.
bring the old one to the church to use for the telethon. Yep. And if
Great.
anyone's interested, St. James AME Church in New York Mills is going to be having its 4th annual Praise and Raise telethon
Right.
on
Praise the
Saturday.
Lord.
On Saturday, February 26th, 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. And we are trying to raise $5,000 so that we can continue to do the ministry that we want to at St. James. So if you are so inclined to support a small church with a big heart, you could send a donation in right now at $ St. James NY Mills. That's Cash App, $ St. James NY Mills, or go to stjamesnymills.com. Go to the donate tab, and you could send a donation to our little church.
And we need donations because the kids ate all the cookies, so we need to buy more cookies now.
They did eat all the cookies.
The cookies are gone, and we need more.
We need more cookies.
So send your money in. Send it in.
So today was a very special day.
Was it?
It was. It was
For you?
For me, it was a very special day. Okay. That last night, I decided to go back into Apple Pay because I had one credit card in Apple Pay. That card got compromised, and I never dealt with it again. So I put in my credit card, I put in my debit card, and I put in my FSA card, my flex spending card for medical stuff. Right, and I went to the pharmacy and I made 2 purchases with my FSA card and with my credit card. And it was the first time that I successfully used Apple Pay at
congratulations.
Grandpa did it.
Grandpa made it 2 successful purchases.
He just went boop, and that was it. How easy was that, huh? How easy was that? One little tap, boop, done.
I had to step away with it away from it for a few months.
From Apple Pay?
Yeah.
Because?
Well, when the card got compromised.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do it intentionally.
Oh, I thought you were taking like a break from Apple Pay.
No, I mean, but when I would go up to the register and try to pay with Apple Pay, I don't know where the confusion came from, but half the time I'd end up pulling out my credit card because it wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But today it just was like bloop, bloop.
You could put your flex spending card on there, huh?
Day, yeah.
You could buy your nicotine gum.
Mm-hmm.
You chew vigorously when you're stressed.
Yeah. I could choose vigor. You could choose.
Yep. I don't know that I wanted that out there that I was chewing nicotine gum, but that's okay.
Is that then let's edit it out.
No, we'll leave it in. I mean, I'm a human being.
I didn't know that was a huge deal.
Oh, it's not a huge deal.
Listen, he blew my spot up. He's like, hey, Mo smokes. I was like, wow.
When did I do that?
Went in front of Rev.
Oh, yeah. I did blow your spot up in front of the Reverend. I thought everybody knew you smoked. These are normal things, smoking and taking nicotine gum. I didn't think these were hidden like things.
People do it. We just don't want everybody else talking about it.
This is not bad.
Yeah,
I think honestly, you have said 10,000 times worse things on my podcast than you smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, but
so that's why I did not expect for you to care that I said you smoke cigarettes.
Cigarettes just come with a certain vibe with people that you don't care for.
You want me to talk about the other things you say that come with a certain vibe?
Yeah, but those things are not me physically doing them in public.
That doesn't matter. You're still doing them.
No,
and it's out in public.
No, it's not out in public.
It's on a platform that people hear that anybody can listen to.
No, that's different from everyday things.
Okay, here we go. Now we're going to Momo Land. I don't want to go to Momo Land. Let's go.
How is that not different?
I don't want to go to Momo Land.
Do you have 3 million followers? Everybody in the world.
Eventually, we will.
Exactly, but until
you're saying that because we're a small podcast now, you can say whatever you want. You should treat it like a big podcast now because people will go back.
You're taking it completely wrong. The average person is not going to know who I am, and even if that is true, It's just a different feeling when you have a cigarette and people talk about cigarettes versus what I say on the internet. It's just two different things.
Well, when you go
cannot
to run for
say-
Congress, there's going to be a
Oh,
lot of info out there.
And let me tell
What
you, none of
kind-
them is going to be about
first of all-
cigarettes.
First of all, again, no, it's just a weird feeling when people physically talk about you smoking cigarettes. It's just annoying.
All right, I don't want to go to
there's a
Momo
thing.
Land. Can we take?
There's
Can I
a
take a
thing.
flight back to?
Pastor,
No Name Yet?
explain
Yeah, can we
to
take a
explain-
flight back to
the
Pastor
to-
Rich hosting the show?
Let's go back to reality.
Yes.
I want to leave the Momo zone. I don't
That's
like
not the
being
more
here.
any smoker will understand.
Well-
Pastor, explain to him better. Because
Yeah,
apparently,
you don't want to. But do you mind if I ask you a smoking question?
sure. No. Nah,
You don't mind, or you do mind?
I thought you was being sarcastic, like we was doing this thing. But like, yeah, you can ask me a smoking question.
So if you ran out of cigarettes,
Mm-hmm.
and and there was a guy on the street smoking a no-name menthol cigarette as opposed to a Newport,
Mm-hmm.
a no-name menthol cigarette, which a friend of mine used to refer to as the dun-dun-duns. Would you smoke the dun-dun-dun?
No. No.
Yeah.
Because you like Newport.
Oh no,
You're
you just
loyal?
know, like, you just know this, like when you're smoking, you just know certain smells. So when you like certain smells, certain things, you're like, oh, that's off-putting. You know, you do get to like, you know, the brands that you like. I like that one, and when you smell those brands, you know those brands. So no, not any random one. I've asked for people, the ones that I've known, like if I smell a Newport or if I smell the Seneca or even a Marbell, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's that. So I'll be like, hey, can you get one? If I ran out of it.
Newport smokers are the most brand loyal smokers that I've ever met.
I can't say that. I am, but yeah, I can't say that. Thomas is like, I don't get it. It's smoker stuff. Yeah.
No, I don't want to continue the conversation. I don't want to blow up any more spots. I'm not even gonna add
What
to this.
spots? We're
Well,
talking
dude,
about smoking.
Oh, now we're talking about smoking. I'm not.
We've been talking about smoking.
I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm gonna just.
Pastor,
I'm gonna
what are
let
you
the- I'm gonna
moving on to?
I'm gonna let
Well,
the nicotine
I
guys
just
talk.
like to put out there why I quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I quit smoking is that I had started the ministerial process, and I went outside to have a cigarette at my job, and this young guy, he's probably 14 or 15 years old, just walked on by and goes, "Man, you're killing yourself." And it's like, how can I go into ministry and be standing out on a public sidewalk smoking a cigarette? And that is what the motivation was for me to put the cigarettes down.
That's a really good motivation.
It's wonderful.
So the gum helped. I quit the gum at one point. I had a weak moment. I was around a smoker on a regular basis, and instead of picking up a smoke, I started chewing this gum again. And eventually, I'll be living life with no nicotine in my system.
What's
At
wrong
least-
with every guy? Got to have a vice. What's wrong with some nicotine, some caffeine? You can't be dry. There's no fun in that.
Why can't I be if I'm fully embracing this the spiritual wellness of Jesus Christ? I shouldn't need any vice.
You know, everybody needs a little something.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people say that. I look at it as somebody that dealt with addiction, with drugs, and I would like to be able to say I'm not addicted to any substances. That would be a victory for me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So the other thing I just wanted to mention about today is it was World Hijab Day. I guess it's the 10th World Hijab Day. So when I got home from work tonight, on Jeopardy, they had a woman wearing a hijab. So since I was aware that it was World Hijab Day, I was like, oh, well, they worked this out. So she'd be on this particular day. February 1st is World Hijab Day, as well as the first day of Black History Month. So Jeopardy goes on, and it's a really good Jeopardy match, and everybody is around $15,000, and she was in the lead. So I'm assuming that Jeopardy had her on for World Hijab Day. And what do they give as a final Jeopardy question? A Christian question.
Oh, but don't you pick the questions?
What's that?
Don't you pick the question yourself?
No, they give you a
No, not on the
question.
final Jeopardy question.
Oh,
No, I'm
okay.
thinking
I know you
family
picked the
feud.
topic, right? But okay, so the last one you don't.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Did she win?
No, she lost.
Oh,
Yeah.
this close.
And it just what it reminded me is of the present liberal class in the United States. Like they had her on to wear that hijab, but when push came to shove, they got her with the Christian question.
You're saying they set her up?
They definitely
set her up.
Because they have all those questions ahead of
They
time.
pretended they wanted her to. They pretended they wanted her to excel.
Well, maybe she should have known some other things.
Yeah.
What was the question?
It was under the category of historic geography,
Right.
and the question went
doesn't even know.
something like that this city was papal property until such and such a date on the Rhone River of France. I knew it. That's all I guess that's,
I don't even know what you just said. What was the question?
is that this French city on the Rhone River was once papal property. It belonged to the Pope.
Okay.
And so I took a guess because
that's a little bit of a deep cut for somebody that's not a Christian, I guess. That's not something like normal,
Catholic.
like everybody would know. Okay.
I felt like they
Catholic
pulled the
question.
rug right out from under her with that question.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Sounds like it.
Well, maybe she should have studied a little harder.
You would have been not only Christian, but you would have been Catholic as well
Not
too.
their fault. She didn't know. She didn't know the question. She didn't know the answer.
Or gone to seminary.
Yeah, maybe.
Seminary.
She needs to expand her religious horizons and know a little bit about everything. If you're
The
gonna go on
only
Jeopardy,
reason
you
why
should know
I knew
everything.
the question because I took an educated guess because of my seminary education.
That's right.
Yeah.
No. So that's a lot of book to read and research.
I guess she'll be brushing up on her Christian literature for next time, and then they'll hit her with some Jewish stuff next time. The final question will be a Jewish question. You're gonna be like, "Oh my, really?"
She'll know because she would have been like, I read the book 3 times just to make sure I won the time. She'll be all right.
So yeah, it's just something I noticed tonight. I just wanted to mention it on the show. I was kind of hoping that she won.
Well, this close, but no cigar. She didn't win any money at all. That's it.
Yeah, she's gonna take home $1,000 for third place.
Oh, that'll get her home.
Yeah.
From
And I don't know how many
gas.
Jeopardy fans listen to or watch the No Name Yet podcast, but I think after all these years, I think maybe they could up the first or the second and third place prize.
Yeah.
$2,000 and $1,000 and a year's supply of Advil.
How long has it been? I could use that. I'll go on just for that. How long has it been? I love that. I'll take Advil like every day. How long have they had the prize money like that? From 2000, 1000?
I think it's since the beginning.
Oh, they need to
Like
adjust
in
for
the
inflation.
80s.
They need to adjust for
Yeah.
inflation and bring that up. We need some more money, but I'll take the Advils though. Hopefully they're liquid gels. Those are my favorites. I love them. Well, sorry to her. Brush up on the Bible.
Brush up, I brush up on the Christian history.
Better luck next time.
Yep, brush up on your papal property.
See ya.
So the main thing I wanted to talk about tonight is all this stuff going on with Joe Rogan.
The very talked about, controversial Joe Rogan.
Really? Yeah.
Controversial.
Yeah, quote unquote controversial.
Well, I did air quotes for those that didn't see.
Yeah. I mean, on a serious note, I grew up in a Democrat family. Consider myself on the left. Even embraced the term liberal for a while. And now, at the age of 54, I'm looking at these people that are supposed to be liberal who are supporting censorship. And I mean, when I was growing up, when I was a young adult, I mean, there are people speaking out vehemently that we cannot censor anybody. We have to defend the First Amendment. And now, there's a lot of people that are just willing to jump on the censorship bandwagon. And it's just not good.
Lames.
And then to come at Joe Rogan, who is a curious guy who has 3-hour conversations with just about anyone willing to come on a show, and he's portrayed as some kind of evil propagandist. It's frightening, and I just wanted to talk about it because I support Joe Rogan. Who else is having these kind of conversations with people? And he brings on people he disagrees with. And when was the last time that you saw that on mainstream media? It doesn't happen. You get a whole panel of people who feel the exact same way when you watch mainstream media. And Joe Rogan never promoted himself as news. Joe Rogan never promoted himself as a journalist. He's a podcaster who has conversations.
He's not a medical advisor, not a doctor.
No.
Tells everybody this constantly. I'm not a scientist.
He's a guy. He's a dude.
He tells you I'm an
the
idiot guy. Yeah. He's the guy that don't come on, and I'm sure everybody has thought about like what it would be like to be in a room with the scientists and the doctors, you know what I'm saying? He's doing that. He's having the conversations that everybody wondered about and thought about for years. Come on, like
it's lame, it's dumb, and I liked his response. Are you going to talk about his response? Did you see it?
Did you see the response?
I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you see his response?
Okay.
I think it was a very classy response. You want to explain the other part of that before we explain the response? Because he was responding to a certain aspect of what you were talking about. You didn't mention it yet.
Well,
the Neil Young thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about. Yeah, we'll go right into Neil Young. So Neil Young said that he's going to pull his music off of Spotify in protest of Joe Rogan's misinformation on COVID. And then Joni Mitchell followed suit.
Who are these people?
I don't know any of them.
And let me see.
I don't know who Joey Michaels is. I know Neil Young's name. Never heard a song.
So Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Niles Lofgren.
Who?
He is a musician in Bruce Springsteen's band.
Wonderful. Great. Good for him.
And then a woman by the name of Brene Brown said that she's pausing her podcast.
Oh, you're pausing. Who?
Okay. We'll go through and explain who these people are. Neil Young is a very famous musician from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Obviously, he's not famous anymore.
Dead to us.
To your generation, you don't even know who he is.
Never heard of him.
Joni Mitchell was a famous folk singer.
Oh, folk.
Wow.
60s, 70s,
Wow.
80s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Very
folk,
impressive.
Neil Young
folk.
is 76 years old.
like a
Joni Mitchell
fable
is
story.
78.
Oh, well, beautiful.
Long lives they lived.
Yeah, and
They're very open in their
more
old age.
boomers that feel that they need to. Why are you touching your wrist?
You telling us to wrap it up?
No, I'm telling that their time is running out. There's
Oh, you're saying they're getting ready to die?
Oh, their time is running.
Their hourglass is running short.
So yeah, more boomers that feel that they need to control American society.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Who's the person with the podcast? Who? Lizzie Brown? Who?
Burnett.
I'll explain who Brene Brown is, but I just want to Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Niles Lofgren, 76 years old, 78 years old, 70 years old. If you want to accuse me of being ageist, go ahead. But since we have a 78-year-old president, a 81-year-old, a Speaker of the House, and I'm not sure how old Schumer is, but the other guy what is that guy's name? Mitch McConnell, he's pushing 80. My question is there no one else that can lead?
Any young guns out there?
Perhaps somebody around my age
we can have on.
Anybody can run upstairs.
The boomer generation just got to hang on until, they're on ventilators and they're 98 years old.
They want that money. They want that power.
Still voting in Congress.
They want it to the last second.
They're
falling asleep. They're falling asleep in their chairs.
Yeah, no one else can do it.
Like seriously.
No one else.
Any more weirdos on the list?
No. Brene Brown is really surprising to me. She is. I'm not sure what her specialty is, but she writes a lot about vulnerability and compassion. And
I like it.
And actually, like on her website or on the website for her podcast, she talks about wanting to hear ideas that will challenge her and upset her.
Oh,
really?
That's why. I mean, we've referred on a couple of occasions to Brene Brown in clinical pastoral education. Like, I respect her work, and then to hear that she is part of this foolishness, I was just like,
foolishness.
People are losing their minds. And
so you're open to your opinion until it's not the opinion. You're open to other opinions until it's not the one you don't want to hear.
Right.
Which is typical media, typical the way the world works right now. Oh yeah. I love trying new things and hearing new opinions until it challenges your opinion.
Right. Was our grandparents' sins.
Like seriously?
I mean,
you're not practicing what you preach here.
I mean, when I was coming up, Phil Donahue used to have a talk show on daytime television. I mean, he was talking to Nazis in the KKK.
No, now we want to live in bubbles. We want to just have everything in bubbles. Like, everybody has to agree with what we say, and that's the only people we're going to talk to. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
only thing we're going to listen to is the things that we already know, the things we already like. We don't want to taste something new because it might taste bad, mentally. It's ridiculous. And, Joe Rogan had a very classy response, probably classier than a lot of other people. He said he was a Neil Young fan, and instead of saying like, good riddance, basically, like I'm the big dog at Spotify. Like I would have told him, see ya, have fun somewhere else. He said he was a Neil Young fan and that he kind of apologized and, whatever, that's his response. But I like that he said that the doctors that he had on, apparently, I don't listen to his show. If I do listen to his show, it's with guests I like. I didn't hear any of the controversial episodes. They're putting the word controversial episodes to them, which is dumb. It's just people talking.
So what happened to the what happened
they
to
didn't
those
tell
two
anybody to
doctors?
go do anything. But he said the two doctors had, first of all, they're very respected, right? They have a lot of accolades, and a lot of the stuff that they were saying, like maybe a year or two ago, is now on mainstream media. But at the time they were saying it was challenging mainstream media. But now it's accepted, like something about the cloth masks and this and that, different things that they had that they were touting at the time. People were like, no way, that's not true. That's not right. The news isn't saying that. Now they're saying it. So I like that. Like, you're going to come at these guys when apparently the stuff they've been saying is right. But because it's not something, because you watch one news outlet your whole life, and that's the only one you want to subscribe to, you can't handle anything else. You can't see any other point of view. How do you know? You're not a medical physician either. The person that's taking that information in. How do you know that person you're listening to? You don't know them just as much as you don't know the guy that Joe Rogan's talking to. Don't act like you know them.
Because the mainstream media is raised and it was birthed by the boomer generation.
Well, and it's because, you bring a doctor on. What I'm saying is, like, they bring a doctor on, right? Like, let's say CNN. And because the doctor has the CNN stamp of approval, now we're going to listen to them. Like, now they're acceptable. That's the only way I'm going to listen to this doctor, is because he's on the one news outlet I watch. That doesn't make that much sense. How about you just open your horizons and say, maybe that could be true. Let's see. Let's apply this somehow. Let's see where it goes. Let's not get up in arms about everything all of a sudden. Let's not jump to conclusions.
Well, part of the argument that people are making, especially scientists and doctors, is that it's normal for scientists and doctors not to agree on certain things, and
science is about not agreeing. Yeah, that's
you have a debate on it. You research it, you test it, and
I love how they had that whole list of how many ever doctors that were also protesting. And they weren't even, a lot of them weren't even doctors, like in the traditional sense.
Yes, they were like foot doctors and
like a
therapists and psychologists and
a dentist,
a
a chiropractor.
There's a veterinarians,
veterinarian. No.
You don't have to like something, but do we need this much outrage? Do we need this? Is this really worth your energy? Yeah. Is this really? You don't even know the truth your damn self.
No.
Dr. Pepper signed it too.
Dr.
I believe it.
Dr. What was it? Dr. Pibb too, right? Oh no, Mr. Pibb. Dr. Pibb is like the only one.
Yeah.
But this whole format of mainstream media, the new CNN and all this stuff, this is like their generation, the boomers, and I can tell they're scared. These major news outlets are scared, because I remember one of the first things me and Pastor ever talked about was like how the news was such different when he was younger versus now, and like how different the stories were and how very appealing it was to watch the news back in when he's back in the day. So it was like, now you don't get that. You don't get that appealing aspect of appalling different personalities and disagreeing and arguments and figuring out the solution without just attacking one group and saying, you have to believe this. You have a channel for every mindset, program for every mindset.
And the good thing about Joe Rogan's thing is it's a conversation, and it's a lengthy conversation. There's room to go back and forth. There's no ad breaks. When you do see, because they do, from what I understand, have people with opposing opinions on a traditional media, on a traditional news outlet, but they get 5 minutes? They're cutting each other off. It's like, all right, Chip, thanks a lot for coming out. I'll see you next time. It's just like they cut them off. Oh, we got to go to break. Oh, we got to do this. They're talking over each other. There's no room for an actual conversation.
Well, and the thing about it is that the things that they're pointing out, say the two doctors that they're pointing out that were controversial, how much of a segment was that as compared to the 3-hour conversation?
Exactly.
They're pulling out different sound bites as if Joe Rogan was jamming this information down people's throats. It was maybe a minute at the most, 2 minutes of a 3-hour podcast.
That's what we do in the world now. That's exactly, we take everything out of context.
On purpose now, so.
Oh, let's take this little clip and put this up, but like you don't hear what happened before or after that. And these are guys like that show is basically a couple guys spitballing and just talking and shooting the breeze. They're not saying this is what you should do.
High.
This is how you should live. This is a lot of it is this is what I did. This is what I do. You know, it's not. And they're talking about now they're going to have they're possibly going to have a disclaimer at the beginning of some controversial episode. So if that's what they want to do, then that's great. I wouldn't do that.
And Joe Rogan said he was fine with that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm trying to find this one figure, and I know it's somewhere here in my notes. But you know, what a lot of people have been commentating is that one of the reasons why the mainstream hates Joe Rogan so much is that for example, I'm forgetting his name right now, but one of the guys at CNN in prime time can't even reach 500,000 people in prime time per show.
Wow.
Joe Rogan gets 11 million views per episode.
Good Lord.
And you want to hear something funny?
200 million downloads per month.
You want to hear something funny? Before we went on, I looked up Joni Mitchell. She has 3 million. So she has 3 million listeners a month.
Really?
Okay. A month. 3 million. My man got 11 million in a freaking day. Like, see ya. If I'm Spotify, I'm like, later. I don't care. We have 1 million more artists that either don't care or support freedom of speech. And you have 1 million other artists pulling in millions and millions and millions of streams. Your little 3 million is nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. That's a little bloop. And Neil Young got 5 million and change. So what is that?
5 million
monthly
downloads or
monthly listeners.
Monthly. Okay. And I'd like to
that's every bar in the countryside.
I'd like to share a photo of who we're talking about.
And I would love to know if they even hear the episodes themselves or if they're just going off what they read.
I don't think that they listen to Joe Rogan.
No.
Right. Like, so you're not even going to go and peep it out yourself. I'm assuming. I don't know what they did. So I can't say they did or didn't. But I hope they did.
So you see the picture?
Yeah, I see him.
There's Neil Young. There's Joni Mitchell. This is a very dated joke, but I'm wondering when the spaceship is going to come and bring Joni Mitchell back to Ork. People my age will get that.
And me and Mo went right over our heads.
Yeah.
There used to be a show.
Oh, not Dungeons and Dragons.
With Robin Williams called Mork and Mindy.
Oh, I heard of it. Yeah.
I heard of it.
And he was Mork from Ork, and he used to wear rainbow suspenders. Wonderful. So here's Joni Mitchell is waiting for the next transport back to Ork.
Okay.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
All right. It was a great joke if it was the 80s.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it's just an overreaction. The guy's not giving any advice. And if he is, I mean, he's not telling people to go kill people. He's not telling people to go cough. But he didn't say, oh, if you have COVID, go cough in somebody's face because COVID doesn't exist. I could see you being like, all right, that's a little crazy to say something like that. But I mean, they're just having typical conversations. He's not, like we said, he's not portraying himself to be any type of person delivering news or advice.
Well,
I'm actually
relax. Everybody, relax. You know what happens when you have a lot of money and you have a lot of time? You could do stuff. You could be outraged like this. A lot of like rich people and people with a lot of time, they're all outraged. Everybody has all this time and all this leisure time to be outraged. Go do something. Go play checkers. Go play poker. Go do something. Nobody has time to be that outraged over something so trivial.
Go watch Gritty Knows Best.
Listen to Gritty Knows Best.
Listen to Gritty Knows Best.
You always see in the headlines like these celebrities are just outraged about this, and they're so surprised at this, and they're standing up for this, and it's like the most trivial stuff.
Right. And
Sure.
Speaking of that, so there's more to the story about Neil Young.
Oh, let's hear this.
So Neil Young sold half his catalog to a company which was eventually bought by the company Blackstone. Okay.
Oh.
So he was paid $50 million for 50% of his catalog, which now Blackstone owns.
Mm-hmm. Who's Blackstone?
Blackstone is a company that is responsible for rainforest deforestation.
Well, a wonderful company to be associated with.
Blackstone aggressively purchased single-family homes and foreclosed on people after the crash of 2008.
Very sweet.
And
people.
that Blackstone is a company that continually undermines laws that would improve access to affordable housing. They lobby against laws that would increase access to affordable housing.
Top-notch people. Great, swell guys.
And they've been accused of aggressive eviction practices, and the UN has called them out for being one of the major contributors, not to the national housing crisis, but contributing to the global housing crisis.
How sweet.
Damn, you're so bad. You affect the world.
So Neil Young is all up in arms about an announcer for UFC who has a podcast in his basement, but it's okay.
I don't know about the basement.
It's definitely a huge compound, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. You could have just went with it.
Nah, because he has a sick compound. I'm not gonna let that slide.
Yeah.
I'm not even a big fan, but I know his compound is wild.
Okay. All right. in a really good compound. But Neil Young is okay with his music being owned by Blackstone.
Of course, you know why? Because I'm sure Neil Young was listening to some young kids that were outraged or whatever. They brought it to his attention, and that's the only way he knows about it. He probably didn't even research it. Somebody probably came to him with this news, and I'm outraged about this. I'm gonna check my thing right on Spotify. He doesn't know about no fucking Blackstone.
Yeah. Now,
and if he does, they're paying him. So what is he gonna do?
You know, Neil Young was part of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I don't know if you ever heard of Crosby, Stills and Nash.
No.
Other great musicians of the 70s era.
No. Daniel Nash. I don't know who that is.
Well, David Crosby.
Shout out to Daniel Nash.
David Crosby has called Neil Young the most selfish person he ever met.
Boom. He's selfish.
And he said that Neil Young doesn't do politics. Neil Young does Neil Young.
Uh-huh. With that 50 mil, that sweet 50 mil from Blackstone. Yep. Kicking single moms out, kicking babies out in the cold. You're doing God's work, Neil.
This righteous man who's standing up for justice blamed gays for AIDS in the 80s.
That's what he did?
Yeah.
Wow, you're a real what a guy. What an awesome man.
And now that his music is being pulled from Spotify, he is now promoting his music on Amazon Music, the CIA Pentagon funded Amazon.
I'm not gonna talk crap about Amazon. You know I love Amazon. But wow, Neil Young is a great track record, a wonderful man. Would love to talk with him. Sounds swell. Would love to be friends with a guy like that.
Yeah, all over a man, Joe Rogan, who lets people talk, and he talks to them.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give direction. They just said, "Here's what we think." Is it a crime to think? What is this? 1984? Neil, my man got 50 mil. He could just, he could be a jerk. Mm-hmm. He has all the money and the time to just do stupid stuff like this.
This guy.
And I'm
is
sure
just
you wouldn't be
wild.
I'm sure you wouldn't be pulling your stuff off Spotify if you didn't have all that money. Like if that's how you were eating, you weren't gonna pull your shit off Spotify. Get out of here.
Right.
He got money in the bank for generations, probably. So it's easy for him to be like, I'm gonna pull my stuff off Spotify for this so I can look cool. It's like almost like virtue signaling, it looks like.
Well, it is
You know?
virtue signaling. I mean, like, why is he even doing this?
It's dumb.
Like,
Are you
he's
trying to
that
appeal
offended?
you're trying to appeal to young kids? Is that like you're trying to appeal to
I don't know what he's trying to do.
to the young kids
I
of my
mean-
generation who are also outraged at everything?
I mean, some people are saying that, when he initially put the letter up, that he
wrote a
wanted
letter?
his music off of Spotify. It came down off of Twitter or whatever platform he had put it up, and then it went back up. And then people are looking at Blackstone that has investments in pharmaceuticals, and I guess recently hired former CEO of Pfizer as a senior advisor.
That's interesting. So he got Pfizer's connected with Blackstone.
Well, the former CEO is now a senior advisor.
So basically, you're connected.
Blackstone.
All her old
So,
friends are still
yeah,
her friends.
Oh, interesting. Well,
I mean, how come we never
friends.
hear about any therapeutics when it comes to COVID? All we hear about is that stupid vaccine. We're not going
Because
to.
they don't, because it's like what me, Gritty, and so many other people said in the beginning, this is not about your health, this is about the money that comes with it. And sooner or later, as this country, I truly believe that this country is truly having a power switch. And because of that power switch, those people who are doing what they're doing right now are just preparing for that power switch.
it's definitely about the money because look at what you told me the other day, Pastor, about Bill Gates when he got the word that his college was going to give away the vaccine.
When Oxford was going to give away the vaccine for free to poor nations.
Yeah, he goes and makes
lobbies
him charge
them.
for it.
Yeah,
Makes him
makes him
for it.
charge
So,
for
I
it.
mean, if that doesn't say everything right there, is it really about the health of the people?
No,
If
it's not.
that's your move,
Right.
I mean, people we're not really looking at this. Like, you're telling me if you're sitting here and you're one of these people that are mad at Joe Rogan and you think that the mainstream media that you're consuming is out for your better good, look at something like that. I mean, you're definitely not opening your mind to what's going down around you.
The news must be
It's
really
about the
a lot of-
ad. They
a lot
want
of these
you in
places
front of
must be
that
losing a lot of
TV
money.
for the ad. They need you in front of the TV so they can have a rating, so they can take these ratings to the ad company and say, we have this amount of millions of people here. You know, you spend this amount of money with us, and we're going to give you to these people. We're going to show your Pepsi commercial. We're going to show your Nike commercial. That is all you're useful for. They're not there to give you any type of quality news or entertainment. Wake up.
So pass the clip. That one, that has to be like in the beginning of the episode. Is like just throw it up, just throw that up there, or just throw it somewhere. Just like, wake up!
And I'm sure I'm gonna say this. I'm sure there are people in those channels that are trying to do good work. Because I remember I was watching a documentary about these news anchors or whatever. They were doing some investigation about milk, and they really wanted to get it on air. They really wanted to do it, and they ended up, the big boss ended up pulling it. But the anchors, the people working there, really wanted to get on the air to serve the public. So I'm not saying that everybody involved in CNN or Fox is bad people. I'm saying top of the food chain, not good. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the thing about these mainstream media outlets is they're funded by the pharmaceutical companies. They're funded by the military industrial complex. Like MSNBC has deep ties with the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Fox was created to serve a very, slim demographic of people who think of a certain way. However, like if I want to get that, I believe that the closest thing in the mainstream that I can get to traditional news reading, like they used to do at 6 o'clock and 6:30 when I was growing up, is Brett Baer on Fox. I mean, he just reads the news.
Just no
I mean,
opinion. Just here's the facts.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear the political bent in it, but it's not about. Occasionally, he has people on, and I don't like it when he has people giving opinion. I like when he is just delivering the news because he reminds me of the way they used to do it. Just read the news.
That's it.
Yeah,
we're not trying to influence you in any way,
right.
As to what to think about what I'm about to say. This is what it is. You make up your mind. How do
I
you
mean,
feel
the complaint was like back in the 70s and 80s is that the news outlets always leaned left, and so conservatives felt that their viewpoint wasn't getting out, and that was the reason, whether you want to say
more
it
news
was a good
outlets.
reason or not, that Fox came to be.
Definitely a good reason. I can see why in that time was a great reason, but that no one said, hey, once you do so, let's like start like changing everything. Let's just start.
There should be as many opinions as they can out there.
Well, I mean, part of what Fox coming out, and I think it was the Reagan administration that did it. Is either Reagan or Clinton, but I think it was Reagan. Is they got rid of a clause, an FCC clause that required news outlets to give equal time to opposing opinions. So, I mean, if that rule had still been in effect, that Fox could not be Fox. And nowadays, MSNBC couldn't be MSNBC, and I would even throw CNN in there. I mean, they're not a neutral news agency,
right?
I mean, they lean toward the liberal class.
The fun game to play for everybody out there, is listen to like Fox and then listen to CNN, but focus on the same story, and watch how this one tells it a little different. This one leaves out this piece of vital information. This one twists this information like this, and you'll see how crazy it is, how much of a show it is, how much they're trying to influence you by just doing that. But if you're not able to look at another one because you just have a visceral reaction to that other party, you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to learn anything watching the same thing over and over and over again. I'm not going to name specific news stories, but I've seen certain news stories that I'm like, I cannot believe that this one said this and this one left this out. Or this one twisted this piece of information or even left out a piece of information, and you can tell why they left it out because it served their narrative. Just look at a major story and see what happens. Test it for yourself. Don't let nobody tell you what to think.
I mean, the more we talk about it, the more that I think about it, that that the establishment hates Joe Rogan so much because he has the freedom to sit down and to say what he wants to say and to allow his guests to say what they want to say.
He's also taking a lot of money out of their pocket. The next generation of young youth and the next generation, this boomer age, is X, that they're going, their time is almost up, and the money's going to change to a different direction. And I guess they don't want that to be in the hands of like people like Joe Rogan, because then if all the journalists start thinking, oh yeah, we can go to other sources to make money, we could actually follow our dreams, that's a problem.
Not only that, yeah, finish your sentence.
Oh, I'm about to say, none of the new kids, like I said, none of the new generation are going to watch news. We do not watch the news. I not remember the last time I sat down and watched half an hour of the news.
I have certain podcasts that I listen to for news, and like I listen to a few of them just to see what's going on. And it's not fed to me in like a way where I'm supposed to be afraid. Like it's not like this shocking, it's like very calm, it's very cool, and it's just I try to just hear the facts of what's going on. I try not to be persuaded, and some of them are leaning, you can't help it, some lean a little this way, some lean a little that way. But also what you're saying, Pastor, they don't just hate him because he's a guy that's allowing people to talk. They hate him because he's a guy allowing people to talk, and they're getting the viewers. They wouldn't care.
Money.
They wouldn't care if They don't care about us because we don't have 50 million people watching saying this shit. But if we did, we'd be a problem because we have the people that they want watching the television or watching them on whatever they could conjure up, whatever kind of number that you serve, however they can track you so that they can go to Pepsi and say, this is how many people we got. Give us money.
Mhm.
This is how many people we got. Give us money for this.
I'm pretty sure Joe
has
Rogan
that.
can pull off a Pepsi commercial easily.
It's so easy for Joe Rogan to say, look how many Spotify listeners I got. Come pay me.
Right. Well,
That's what they don't like about it, that they have the people's attention. Attention is everything in this day and age.
There are a lot. There are many like YouTube shows that get more views than CNN and MSNBC gets during prime time. And the differences in the audiences are like, you know, in some cases like 1 million people, if not 2 million.
Mm-hmm. Because we're not beholden to what we're not glued to the TV. Like, you know, your generation doesn't, I'm not saying anything against it. You had to be at the TV. There's nothing else.
Well, there wasn't anything else.
There was nothing else. That's what, you know, I'm just saying that's the point. We have all this freedom now to watch whatever we want. We're lucky. We're very, very lucky. Mm-hmm. Because at that time you didn't know any better because you just know what they tell you. And that's the only thing. It's like, it's just the only newspaper in town. You're basically brainwashed.
You're the last two generations
that
still believe in what mama said.
You better hope they're telling you the truth. Now we can go out and say, is that true? Let me go see. Like, if there's something going on in France, let me go see what what France is saying about what's going on in France, instead of listening to what America is saying what's going on in France. You know, try that, play that game. Like, listen to something about a global thing, and then go to what they're saying about it. You know, what another outlet is saying about it that's not in America. Mm-hmm. You might hear something different. You don't know.
Right.
Try it out.
Well, when the Iraq War was going on, this is just before I moved to Tacoma back in 2002, and I lived in an apartment building where the owner gave us free Dish Network, and they had the Canadian news on there, and you could watch the American news and then watch the Canadian news and hear a whole bunch of stuff that they weren't telling you on the American news.
It's magic. It's magic. And you know what? I don't want to seem like I'm coming at the people necessarily. Like, I'm just coming at the outlets because some people don't have time to do what I'm saying. Some people don't have time to go watch this and then watch that. And that sucks. You know what I mean? They have you by the throat at that point, because some people are working hard and they only just want to watch one channel and then go to bed. They just want to get their fix and go to bed. Not everybody has time to listen to 2-3 different podcasts. So that sucks. I'm not coming at the people watching it. Right. It's really just the people delivering us this crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's crazy. But Joe Rogan is honestly going to remain the victor in a lot of these situations. His fan base is not. No, seriously, his fan base.
I'm saying, of course. I'm saying, I'm agreeing with you. Of course.
Yeah, his fan base are not going to waver at all. No one is. And every time he's attacked, everybody just laughs at it, because it really is mainstream news and outlets saying, you know what, and an older generation of people just don't agree with him, and they don't know what to do with him, and they're not going to win, and they know they're not going to win.
Even that statement, Mo, that people don't agree with him. I mean, it's like he's not like Hannity that goes out and drills the same screw into the same board every night.
Oh.
You know, Joe Rogan is curious. Joe Rogan is interested in learning things, and sometimes he changes his perspective on things. And he has a 3-hour conversation with somebody that's specializing in something. And it's like, well, how can you? I don't agree with Joe Rogan all the time.
No.
But
they don't agree with his who he is. You know, when I say they don't agree with him, I'm talking about who he is, what he stands for. Like, he is just freedom. Somebody
that's just able to do that. Somebody's able to say, you know, I have this guy on that never been on CNN or Fox, or maybe they don't give him a lot of time. You know, he has published papers and he has all these accolades, but let's not pay attention to him. That doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't make much sense at all.
I mean, what's there to like about a guy that takes impeccable care of his body and his health, who is able to sit down and talk to anybody, who has a non-aggressive personality and has a certain amount of charm and likes to light up and have a joint? I mean, what's there to like about Joe Rogan?
What a sin, right? What a sin. And he actually sits there and lets people talk. He lets people get their thoughts out.
He doesn't yell at you. He doesn't say, I'm right. You know, he's never been caught on tape beating his wife and children.
And I'm not even a big Joe Rogan fan. I don't even listen to the guy that much. Like I listen to him when he has a guest that I care about. Yeah. But this is the one thing I could say to Joe Rogan. I mean, he's doing it right, because this is really nothing new. This is just outrage on the internet. But before this, you had people with NWA CDs in the street and they were running them over with cars. You had people going to Marilyn Manson shows with picket signs because, you know, the Christian groups. I'm sure he's done other things that people are talking about now, but back in the day, you know, they had Christians with picket signs. I mean, it's just the way the world works. Everybody's outraged. Let's not even get outraged about the outrage. Mm-hmm. It's you're doing it. You know, you're doing it right when you get this type of response.
Exactly.
All the greats got this type of stuff. Only maybe Michael Jackson did it, and I'm talking about just in terms of artwork. You know, obviously he had his own stuff personally, but when you're talking about artwork, who didn't get protested? Michael Jackson, maybe. That's the only one I know that didn't get a lot of heat. You know, if you ain't getting heat, you ain't doing it right.
And why are you making me work so hard in this episode?
You gotta be like Joe. Joe wouldn't tell me to shut up.
And every time we have a curse loaded podcast, I say to myself, all right, is one of my colleagues going to be watching this, and are they thinking in their head, why isn't that pastor rebuking those two young men for their language?
Rebuke me now. Say something.
Whoever is looking on the other side of this watching this right now, and you may be somebody he knows, I just want you to let you know, and just think about it for a second. Who started this?
Who started what?
Who started what?
This nonsense. You, by disrespecting my name, saying I'm going to eBay for some drink I've never heard of.
He's saying since you bust his chops, you deserve it. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, you can.
So what you're saying is you're a spiteful individual.
Like you're a petty individual.
He did call you petty pastor before.
Yeah, that's true. The thing about I hear your point about not getting outraged about the outrage. The thing about this situation, along with everything else that has been going on over the past couple years, 3 years, I mean, is that the number of people that have been censored is a lot. A lot of people have been taken down off of YouTube.
Yeah.
Both on the left and the right, but more on the left than the right. Like people left of the establishment left have been censored.
Yeah, and because they're not evolving to the new format of the left.
Yeah, and so when you know people from the federal Democratic Party are talking about preserving our democracy, the first thing that comes to mind every time they say that is, then why don't you stop supporting censorship? Because you cannot have a democratic society that censors opinion, that censors thought. That's like one of the foundations of a democratic society. And then you'll have the people that will get snarky and will say, well, we're not a democracy, we are a republic. Yes, but we're a democratic republic, and that, at least when I was brought up, and when I was taught history, when I was taught about the country, that this idea of a democratic republic was drilled into me. And now I'm, at 54, I'm watching it erode, and people my own age and older are asking me why I'm so concerned. And thinking in my head, when did you become so complicit?
It was around the time where after y'all just had TVs and I don't know where they were like, wait, here's this little thing that you can hold around and put close to your ears. That's when y'all lost your minds. Y'all was like, whoa. It was easy to manipulate after that.
What are you talking about? The pod
Cell
from outer
phones.
space?
The pods from our cell phones, a little thing in your hand, right there, Pastor.
Well, there was a little bit more evolution, you know. There was, the
But I'm saying
Apple
the point of what
II,
I'm
and
saying is
there
that
was the
once things was
Amiga.
able for you to move, when your technology was able for you to
Yeah.
move,
Then
and
there
all
was
this,
the bag phone,
your life was able to be easier and stuff like
The
that.
briefcase
That's
phone.
what made
the
it easier
briefcase
for people to
phone.
become uncomplacent, because it's like, yeah, all these crazy things are happening in the world, but what was our country doing? Our country was giving us enough things to keep our attention locked on what they needed us to see. And now everything is coming out for what it is, and it's like unraveling right in front of everybody's eyes. And that's confusing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
For you could see it. For those people, they can't see it because they still locked into the part of like, I have all this stuff. My life was easy. And in truth, their life did get easier. It did actually
Well, a
get
lot of
easier
people's
for them.
lives got easier.
Yeah.
But now it's reversing with the income inequality.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at my dad's life, that the fact that he would be in the financial position that he's in from where he came from was not something that he was imagining as a young man.
Mm-hmm.
Like my father's generation benefited from a lot, and my generation is going to benefit from the boomers.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to millennial and Gen X, the boomers and Gen Z, the boomers and Gen Z are going to leave the next generations with the bills, with the cleanup, and with the asthma.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Seriously.
guys.
Because y'all wanted to go shoot everything, guys. I just could not mind your business.
If I knew this was coming, if this was coming up, I would have tried to clip Lewis Black. Lewis Black does this joke / rant about the boomer his own generation, and how they effed everything up.
Effed everything up.
It's a good joke. So I think it's time that we wrap this up. Gritty, I'd like to thank you for hosting the show.
You hosted the show. I didn't even steamroll that much. I let you talk.
But I do want to. There is one more thing about Joe Rogan's response that I want to mention. Well, actually, two things about his response. I wish he had left out the story when he worked at that venue as a security officer.
You didn't like it? You weren't a fan?
Well,
I don't remember that part.
He kind of abandoned his post. It doesn't really make him look that good.
Listen,
he could have just left that off.
I'm with him. If stuff gets too crazy, he said he's only getting paid X amount.
Yeah.
He's not in the military. He's not protecting the country.
It might have been a better story to tell a month from now on the show, maybe. Not in that response.
Listen, let him do what he wants.
I'm just looking out for Joe Rogan.
11 million every episode. Guy's doing something right.
He's doing something right. But okay, that aside, I laughed out loud during that response. Is when he was talking about Joni Mitchell, and that he liked her music too, and that he thought that Chucky's in Love was a great song.
It sucks.
No, that's Ricky Lee Jones's song. That's not.
Oh, it's not even Joni Mitchell's song. Wow.
I laughed out loud because I don't think he did it as a dig, but it was a huge dig.
Does she not like the other girl?
No,
Other
but it's
woman?
just like
Okay.
he's talking
That'd
going
been
along.
better.
I like her music, and Chucky says,
Doesn't
"Love's a
even-
great song." That's not her song.
Doesn't even know Joni Mitchell songs. That's great. Wow. If you had, I could never. If you put a million songs on, I could never pick out any one of them that she made. I don't know any of them. What's her biggest hit? What's her biggest hit ever?
I don't even remember. I would, I heard her, and I never clicked with her. Now,
Well, apparently 3
Ricky Lee
million
Jones,
people
on the
do.
other hand, I was a big fan of.
Well, apparently 3 million people love Joni Mitchell on Spotify. So
Yeah.
and so none of their music got taken down because it was up when I looked them both up.
Oh, really?
I don't think it was taken down. I looked them both up right before the show. I found their profiles.
On Spotify.
Yeah, I looked them up. I had to look them up on Spotify. I didn't. I saw them right there. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw them when I looked them up.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what happened with that, Mr.
right.
Blackstone.
Well, we end the episode the same way every time.
That's right.
And Mo, Gritty, I thank you for being on the first episode of the second season of the No Name Yet podcast.
Happy to be here.
And so let us pray. And Father God, I thank you for this time with Mo and Gritty. And that, Lord, I ask that you lift them up, that you keep them protected, and that, Lord, that you continue to guide them in the way that you want them to go. And that, Lord, I ask a blessing on this project called the No Name Yet podcast. I ask that you help me keep a mindset to keep this forever fun. And that, Lord, that we ask a blessing on the United States of America. And that, Lord, as debate, as argument, and as people wielding power seems to get crazier and crazier, I ask that you preserve this nation and you preserve the democratic values of this nation. Because as Gritty said, it may not be perfect, but he wants to be on this team. And I think we all want to be on Team USA. So, Lord, we're asking that this country not betray the people. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 USA. USA.
USA. USA.
Mamo. USA.
Oh,
USA.
USA. Come on, you're here.
Nah.
Come on, we're not in Europe.
I'm sorry.
Mo
Right,
needs to take
Australia.
his Geritol.
USA.
Oh yeah. That's oh yeah. I like our flag.